Good day and welcome back to Iran Daily Newsfeed. General Jim Rush of Idaho issued a statement after the meeting saying Iran continues to steadily advance its nuclear program while violating its international obligations and preventing the IAEA from fulfilling its monitoring responsibilities. Its failure to provide credible answers to the IAEA's question regarding its undeclared nuclear sites is unacceptable. In a statement, he demanded a tougher approach in the next board meeting and also have stressed the importance of taking strong action in advance of the November Board of Governors meeting and preparing to censure and refer the Islamic Republic. He then added, President Biden should finally recognize that Iran is not interested in any agreement that will protect the interests of the United States and our allies. The legitimacy of the IAEA depends on strong U.S. leadership in seeking accountability for the Islamic Republic's nuclear activities and in pressuring Tehran to fulfill its obligations to the international community. Ebrahim Raisi, in televised remarks Monday evening, called for results-oriented negotiations with the West while urging the U.S. to lift unjust sanctions. Speaking to the state broadcaster, Raisi said the Islamic Republic never left the negotiating table, asserting that lifting sanctions can be a sign of seriousness from other parties. His remarks come 3 days after the IRI head of Deputy Foreign Minister and new nuclear negotiator Ali Bagheri scheduled a visit to Brussels to hold talks with top European Union officials on reviving the tattered 2015 nuclear deal. Raisi's conservative administration has adopted a tough line on indirect talks with the U.S., making it conditional to the Biden administration returning to the deal and lifting sanctions on Iran. On the other hand, Washington has maintained that Tehran must return to the negotiating table and scale back all nuclear measures in violation of the nuclear deal. Mojgan Kalbusi, a civil activist and a prisoner, has stated she has been repeatedly inspected in complete nudity in the Islamic Republic's prison and detention centers. In October this year, the human rights website wrote in a report that Mojgan Kalbusi had been repeatedly searched by officers not just only in Noshar prison but the Shahre Prison Inspectorate, the Tehran Ministry of Moral Security Police, the Karaj Intelligence, and Katri Prison after being completely naked. According to the report, she described the behavior of the agents as a clear example of psychological torture and believes that such behavior is a violation of her most private and human privacy. This is not the first time that reports of ill treatment and violence against prisoners in Islamic regimes' prisons have been published. Sepid Ghoyan is another victim of such vicious actions taken by the Islamic Republic. And as we have already covered the news in the past, Alice Justice is the name of a group who try to show their protest and expose the oppression of political prisoners by hacking and obtaining documents from inside the prison, including photographs of the prison control room, wards and rooms of prisoners, files of political prisoners, and confidential documents of Evin prison, which clearly shows and proves dozens of prisoners being harshly and unjustly harassed by the regime's agents while they're in the prison. An expert on economics says, according to the Statistics Center of Iran, 700,000 people immigrate from Iran every year. If we consider the population growth rate and birth rate as 1.1%, the maximum actual population living in Iran should not be more than 70 million people. But in this situation, we see that 74 million people in the country receive subsidies, which in principle it means widespread corruption in the country. And that was all for today. I'm Kate, and thank you for the privilege of your time.